we just lost another guy the other day.
Are you, heck, so that's where you're at right now?
Yep. Michael Owen.
And what do you do?
I run a non-profit called Vetality, and run a security company called Fidelity Security Solutions.
Tell me a little bit more about Vetality.
Vetality was created by combat infantrymen of the United States Marine Corps about 2 years ago now. We all got together after we separated from active duty, and we realized that there needed to be a change. We saw where society was going when it comes to pharmaceutical medication to treat mental illness, as well as transitional assistance to defeat unemployment. The programs just were very arbitrary, and they weren't really giving a lot of productivity to the guys transitioning. So we all went down those paths that we were told when we transitioned, and we got a lot of roadblocks and a lot of speed bumps. So we collectively and collaboratively got that together, and that's what Vetality is. It's a systematic approach to transition, and it's the proper way to transition. We've all taken the road that we were told, and the path of least resistance is normally the road that's not really a lot of results are in that road. So when we all got together, we kind of realized that, you know, we need to do something about it. No one's going to do something. It's got to be an initiative driven to start defeating these statistics, these negative statistics. And throughout kind of what we've been doing, we've had a lot of guys that have approached our organization, and they've had beneficial results. Then, you know, you get phone calls and guys just aren't around anymore. So it's a hit or miss type of situation. You know, you say you really want to try to make a difference, but the way I kind of equate it is you're pushing a boulder up an avalanche, and it's just, you're not really making a lot of progress. You know, you're expending a lot of energy, but not a lot's really being done. So that's the kind of the moral behind Vetality, and the way forward is, you know, you keep building a team, and the bigger you are, the stronger in numbers you are, and eventually you'll start making waves, and that's kind of where we're at right now with Vetality.
Tell me about some of your successes.
In regards to
With the organization.
So we've had a few veterans come to us with an interest in several entrepreneurship routes, and I can speak on one if you'd like. One is within the cannabis industry. It's not a play on words, but it's cultivating as we speak in California, and it's very profitable. And you can look at the model that Colorado's already set forth, and they're giving money back to their people in the tax seasons. So if we can bring that model here, I think we can really create a lot more jobs. And we talk about veteran unemployment, well, that's organically creating jobs from something that grows naturally from the earth. And that's what we've done, is we've created an old veteran-owned and operated medicinal marijuana delivery service called VetMeds, and they're operating here in San Diego.
On the interstate, 2 bad times in the state. All the kids play on the interstate, 2 bad times in the state.
Giving back to the veteran community in that way, whether it be further in their education or their life, you know, it's what they need, and if we can give that to them, that's great. You know, we give that help.
And, we service all patients, but we give really good discounts for all of our service-connected veterans. We've done a demographic research, and there's over 65,000 veterans receiving compensation for 60 to 90% post-traumatic stress disorder. related to their active duty, and that's who we'd like to target. We always talking about being the tip of the spear, you know, and focusing on where your point of friction is. And we've already kind of deduced that that's where our point of friction is. That's where your suicide is really flourishing from, is your guys with the mental illness. And they're not given any alternatives from the Veterans Administration. It's just a blanket that's put over their mental illness, and you're trying to trap a fire. It's not working. And a lot of guys are actually going over to the other side and just getting addicted to pharmaceutical medication that they're prescribing because they don't know any better. They don't know that there's other outlets. And it's another reason that Vetality is trying to make a stand, is to show that there's holistic and homeopathic approaches to mental illness, and there's alternative ways to treating stress and anxiety.
Why is this important to you, Michael?
I personally live it day in and day out, and then I see my buddies live it day in and day out, and it's not something that should be keep going, you know. Like there definitely needs to be a change, and it needs to happen pretty rapidly. Over the past 2 years, myself and other officers within the organization, we've received numerous phone calls of suicide, and about a good majority of those phone calls, it was from mental illness, and just the brotherhood was broken. And so, to answer your question, the reason why I'm passionate about it is the brotherhood needs to reignite, and the bond still needs to be there, because that's what these guys are lacking when they get out. Is it's obviously financial satisfaction is one of them, and just being secure in what you do and being proud of your day in and day out movements. But the biggest thing is just you miss that camaraderie. You know, you're drawn to it. It's almost like the best drug that you've been addicted to, and when you don't have that camaraderie, it's a huge pit, and you try to fill it with anything you can, but you really can't cover that pit unless, you know, you get back with your brothers and you rekindle. You don't have to be in a uniform, you know. You'd be surprised just getting together with your boys and just hanging out. It's huge. So it's another reason why we have Vetality Adventures, where we just get guys to kick it, kayaking, hiking, fishing, you know, just come together and hang out. At the end of the day, if just a simple conversation can move a mountain. And if we could put that conversation together and have someone actually speak to somebody, you're starting the ripple in the pond, you know.
Tell me about some of the most amazing leadership you have currently in your organization. Who are they and what do they stand for?
So the co-founder with me, his name's Brent Olds, and him and I go way back through college and everything. And he was actually transitioning back in 2007. I was at Florida State University, and he transitioned out of the Marine Corps as an 0311 infantry, and he was going on his GI Bill, doing what he was told, just trying to start a new life, and then he just wasn't conforming. Somehow, some way, the universe brought us together, and then from there it was instant gravitation. We were the same person. We both came from a broken home. We both had linear paths that really made us bond relatively instantly.
I mean, and it's the worst thing to come back from a country, you know, Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever it might be, and to go through all those patrols and all those endless nights, and to come back here and not find the support and help you need back here, where, you know, everybody's flourishing. It's the great, you know, great America, and we can't find the therapy or the help or whatever it might be to help these guys transition. And for them to come back here and die stateside, die in the United States when they served and they did all those deployments elsewhere, it's what hits you. I've had more stressful situations in the civilian life than any other country, so I know that they're going through the same thing, and just providing them the help that they need and being that handout when they don't have one. That's where we come in at.
Being in a leadership position and understanding that sending your men out there and knowing that they might not come back, that's a very heavy burden, a very big load to carry. And I think one of my big driving factors, and I know Brent can attest to this as well, is not having those Marines or those soldiers or whoever you send out of that wire come back. That guilt will plague you for a long time. And I know personally, in my own heart, that is my driving factor, that is my passion, that's my love for Vetality, is to not have anybody else not come back to the wire. And then from there, he wasn't satisfied with his education process, and he saw the motivation that I had wanting to get into the Marine Corps at that time, and it drove him to put a uniform back on. He went back in and redeployed to Afghanistan, and him and I, as he was deploying out, I was in my transit time, finishing up my officer school, and we finally linked up before he got to go overseas. And before my first deployment, he had called me, and I was getting on the plane at March Air Force Base, and I got a call from Brent saying good luck.
And what kind of leadership does he bring?
Teamwork. When you talk about leadership, it's not authoritative, you know? I look at leadership as collaborative, and with Vetality, that's kind of what we stand for. Is we all bring something unique to the table, but at the end of the day, you know, the teamwork is what really drives the training and gets everything done. So what I would say the leadership qualities that he brings to the table is commitment. You're not going to find someone that's more loyal and more dedicated regardless of what he has to sacrifice. So commitment would definitely be something that I would say would be a big leadership trait.
You know, going to the doctor's offices or the VA, that can be the biggest turnoff right there. I won't ever go into a huge VA facility. I don't know, my partner's probably along the same route. It's just so crowded and there's too much going on. So if we can build that comfortable environment back somewhere else where like minds are running the facility, other veterans, combat vets, whatever they are, transitioning, any veteran, transitioning out of the military needs that time and that help. We provide that, we provide the space for them to get the help, we provide the therapies that they need, and in turn, if they want to further their education, we try to provide that, and we work all of that out of that one facility, the Wellness Center, which is going to be down here in San Diego.
You know what's funny is, you have the uniform on, you always think like, what am I going to do when I take it off? You know, like, what is really in store for me? But to me, like, I always wanted to be in the Marine Corps, but I never knew why I wanted to be in. And kind of talking to the love of my life and realizing like what it truly was just a yearning for a new family, you know, an escape. And you get so connected to that escape, and you form such a tight bond to that escape that is your new reality. And when that reality is pulled from you, you're alone, you're isolated, and all it takes is that reality to bring back in your life, and all it is a brotherhood, you know. So when you talk about the love story and you talk about the passion, you know, it's the love of the brotherhood, you know. It's profound, and what it can do just by a simple conversation, by a simple just, hey man, what's up, you know, like, haven't heard from you in a while, text, something simple. Be surprised, you know, we'd have a lot more guys here.
Can I invite you to use the word sisterhood in correlation with brotherhood?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm jaded too, so it's. So I don't mean to disrespect. That's just. But yeah, of course.
I'd knock you upside the head right now if we were in uniform.
That's just the way. Yeah.
And I'd probably race you.
Yeah.
You know that, right? It would be a gut check.
But that's coming from my background. You gotta.
I get it.
Yeah, so I would just say it's a camaraderie, you know, at the end of the day. Instead of the word brothers, it's a camaraderie.
Somebody knowing that they have your back and you have theirs, right?
Of course, yeah.
So, in a perfect world, in a reasonable world, actually in an unreasonable world, where would Vetality go next?
More...
in a very positive space, by the way. Not what your current constraints are, but where are they going next? How about that?
Well, we actually have something in motion. We have a wellness center that we've invested very heavily into, and what that encompasses is essentially personal fitness.
And in the moment that you said, you know what, I'm going to do something about that. Tell me about what that moment was for you.
You know, when you get the uniform on, and you always say, you know, take initiative and get the job done. You got to do the same thing when the uniform's off too. And I saw myself and I saw my brothers and my sisters. They weren't taking that initiative. You know, it was just pointing the finger. The finger was getting pointed, and we needed to start an initiative, or else the finger pointing would lead to more negative statistics. And at that time, after 6 phone calls of just negative statistics of guys just not around anymore, it was too much. And you know, you get, when you go overseas, necessary risks that you need to take. You know, it goes back on the camaraderie, but it's almost a desire inside of me that when I see someone struggling, I can relate. Because I've been at the lowest of the low, and I've seen what it takes, you know, to survive with what little you have on you, and I'm drawn to that sort of environment, and I want to help, and I don't want anything in return. That's not what I'm trying to do. I can't even explain it to you. It just, there's something inside of me that I want to just, it feels good. I guess I would say it feels good to want to help somebody and see them be successful.
So, from one veteran to another, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
And I love you. So, do you find value or relief in your participation with your own struggles with mental health?
Of course. And the way I kind of equate, I wouldn't say a mental illness. I wouldn't even say post-traumatic stress. The way I equate certain situations and certain feelings and emotions, I would call it as a separation anxiety. Separating from what you knew and what made you effective into who you are right now. And what I've grown to know about myself and how this has helped me help others, which is obviously retroactively help myself heal, is you can't stop the tidal wave from happening. But what you can do is know that the tidal wave is coming and know how to control it. And I can expound upon that. Is you're taught to be a ferocious lion and to eat every flesh that you can think of to keep you strong and vital. And then when that's not your job anymore, and now your job is to be a domesticated house cat, that dichotomy is supposed to make sense. And to me and a lot of other individuals in the armed service that separated, they understand that, and that kinship that you can relate with somebody, that understanding of I'm not alone, that I would probably pinpoint would be the passion behind what keeps us going and what kind of helps me out personally heal, is knowing that others out there, we can all relate, and knowing that it's not going anywhere, but we can work together as a team to harness it and deal with it and understand it. Because not knowing it is ignorant, and ignorance is not something that is going to help you heal.
It's giving you a tremendous sense of purpose.
Of course.
What was your initial decision to going over there?
To join the Marine Corps? Sense of change.
Yeah, I just wanted to get out of Kansas, where I grew up at. So
Get out of Florida.
yeah, it's an escape. Like we said earlier, it's always an escape.
There's definitely something better out there, and we found it in a uniform.
Did you get to meet over there?
We met in Tallahassee.
I had gotten out of the military after 4 years. He was getting ready to go into the officers program there, so we met up there. And he actually the reason why I went back into the Marine Corps for a second time. So it was good.